Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you have been here before. Please hit the subscribe button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. Hit the bell button to get alerts every time I upload new content. And if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. That would make me very happy. Today's video was inspired by memories that I had of going to an amusement park when I was a kid, and I met a girl who I was probably 14, she was probably 17 or 18, and she had the coolest eyeshadow ever. And it was matte yellow and orange with just a bunch of black liner. This was my first foray really into using eyeshadow at all. Nothing subtle about this. Before that, I was just using a bunch of black eyeliner, black pencil eyeliner. And for this look, I'm going into the Smashbox. This is my only one. The Cover Shop palettes, this is the one that's the bold eye palette. So if you'd like to take a little trip down memory lane with me and see how I got this look, please keep watching. But I've already moisturized, and I've also gone in with my Tarte Clean Slate 360 Degree Creaseless Eye Primer. And my instinct is to actually start with the color, but I'm afraid it's going to be too stark. I am working on perfecting a cut crease. When I have perfected it, I will load a tutorial about it, and I'll also include, because I've been practicing for a while, I'm still a ways away, but I'm sure I'll have tips and tricks to give you when I actually upload it. And I'm sorry if the traffic is loud. It is a hot day. The windows are open. It's just too hot to not have the windows open, so I hope you forgive me. So for just working in my crease a little bit, I'm going to go in with my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette into this color. It's Lazarus. And I'm picking it up on a Zoeva 228 crease brush. Picking it up and tapping it off. And just doing a little bit of blending. A little bit more. And I'm sure that I'll go in when I'm done to add more, just to kind of blend things better. But I just wanted to give myself something before I go in with the color, which is really exciting. Okay, so initially what I'll do is I'll go in without any mixing medium, without any prep and prime. May end up going back in later and adding more depending on what the color payoff is like. This is my first time using it. And I'm planning on using, because what I really want to do today is replicate this look from when I was a kid, which is really focusing only on the orange and the yellow. But it's such a neat palette. I like it a lot. And it's my first use of it, so I imagine that I'll be doing more with it later. But I am not going to go totally ham today. I really want to focus on these two colors. Maybe the red. Okay, so first I'm going to go in with the yellow, and it's called Bolt. And I'm going to use, these are neat brushes. These are the ones from ColourPop. This is the fluffier one. They also have a flatter one. I'm going to go in with this first. So I'm first going to just swirl a little bit, and that's so pretty. I'm going to give it a decent tap, and today I am going to put my face makeup on after, just because I am expecting fallout for this. I'm not getting too much payoff here. I'm going to do the same thing on my other eye, but then I do think I will go in with a mixing medium just to amp up the color. So if you're going in with yellow and orange, you're not really shooting for subtle. I'm going to switch to the other ColourPop brush. This is the flat one. And I am going to use some Prep and Prime. And I am only going to focus on the one area of the palette, of the pan, so I don't change the consistency of everything else. It's always usable when you do that, but it makes it a little bit just harder to dig into. So I'm picking up more, and this is, ooh, pretty. And I will tap it off. But again, if I get fallout with this, it's not the worst thing in the world. The other reason why I'm doing my makeup after is because it's a fully matte, not fully matte, there are two shimmers on the top, but the colors I'm going to be using today are all matte, and I always expect more fallout from matte. Okay, so I'm gonna go in. Actually, I'm gonna bring you in closer. Okay, here we go. That is better. I'm gonna build this up a lot because I really do want the color to come through. Going back in. It's probably too late for me to add white. It's coming through pretty okay. I actually want it to look like it looks like in the palette. But I'm getting a decent amount of payoff now that I am using a mixing medium and also that I am layering. All right, that is pretty good. I'm going to add more and go into my other eye. And I'm actually not getting that much fallout for it being a matte palette. A little bit more. All right. And I might come back in with the dry brush when I'm done just to lay more on top. I'm going to use my Ramona color switch just to clean this guy off. There we go. And I'm going to go in and do the same thing with the orange, and I'm going to do the orange on the outside. And add a little bit more. Probably don't need to add more, but that's okay. All right, so this is, the first one was Bolt, and this one's called Wait What? So it's the orange one. And here we go. Really don't need to be tapping it, but just to be safe. Oh man, this reminds me of my childhood. So weird. It's interesting because it's so trippy. It's interesting because for me, the thing that usually shoots me back somewhere is first music and then second like a smell. Normally not color, but this combination, woo, just reminds me of that summer. And I'm not totally even. This one I went over further. So I meant to do it 2/3 yellow, 1/3 orange. I think what I'm going to end up doing is a little bit more orange than I meant to, but not that big of a deal. It's going to add a little bit more on this eye. And then I'm going to clean this off again. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to. I already did. It's clean now. But instead of using that same brush, I'm going to use a Real Techniques Deluxe crease brush just to kind of buff it out. I want it to be clear that there are two separate colors happening here, but I don't want it to be that stark of a contrast. So I'm going to just buff this a little bit. Make it a little bit softer, and the same on this eye. And I am getting some transfer, which I do typically get on this eye. I'm just going to use my finger to wipe that off. And then I'll go back in with the same Zoeva 228 that I used for the original contour kind of shade color, just to kind of buff that out a little bit. Wow, that's so interesting. Actually, what I think I'm going to do, this is one of the new ColourPop Summer Super Shock Shadows. This is in Tanktini. It's a bright yellow, but it has a little bit of shimmer on it. And this was always matte. I'm not going to make this not be matte, but I want a little something extra in my corner. So I'm going to go in with a Real Techniques definer brush, and I'm just going to pick up a little of this. I do generally use my fingers when I'm using ColourPop, but I want this to be really precise. So I'm picking up some of this, and I'm just going to put this in the corner. Just a little bit. Just to give me a little bit more. A little something, something extra. That's interesting. That's more glittery than I thought it would be, but that's totally fine. I am going to stop there though, because I really, although I'm looking back at this palette and inspired to do more, I just wanted to recreate this particular look. All right, and because this is me at 14 and not me at the age that I'm at now, which is not 14, I'm gonna go in with a liner pencil, and I'm gonna sharpen this. This is Urban Decay Ozone. Urban Decay was not a brand when I was 14. I would have been using, the brand that I would have been using would have been Prestige. I don't have any Prestige liners here. They make really good liners though. And I probably would have been lighting it to make it be molten like you do when you're 14, or when you were 14 when I was 14. It was a different era back then. So I'm just gonna go in there and lay that on. It's hard for me to not go in and do a cat eye, but that's not what I would have done back then. And it probably would have been, wow. I see why I don't use liner that much. I use gel and I use liquid and I use pens, but I don't use pencils very much. And it's skipping. Okay, I'm gonna do something else. And this is a huge makeup no-no. Not even just a makeup no-no, but a no-no in general, no-no for your eyes. I'm remembering now what I used to do to make it not skip. So don't do this. It's not good. I'm gonna do it though. I'm gonna just stretch my eye. And that's what I used to do. Okay, the kinesthetic memory's coming back now. I'm remembering. Here we go. Okay, that's what I would have done. And I'll do it on my other eye. I mean, these days, I never do this. If I do pull my eye out, it's just a tiny bit. But I know that I did it. I stretched it out a lot more than I should have back in the day. But I just never do that. And I would have put it under my eye. And I would have gone like a third of the way in. And I would have done the same on the other side, obviously. No, I would have just left it this way, with one on one and one not on the other. Okay. And it's just going to be smudgy. I'm trying to correct it because I want it to be clean, but it wouldn't have been clean when I was that old. And I'm going to go in on my waterline, which I never do with black. If I'm going in on my waterline, I'm going in with white, or I'm going in with like a fleshy for me, like beige color. I'm going to go in on my waterline. It wouldn't have occurred to me back then to go into my tight line. And I don't think I'm going to get much transfer from my lower lid, from my lower waterline to my upper tight line, because this liner is very smudge proof, budge proof. But I know that the Prestige, when I was wearing it, I'd be able to blink my eye and have it move from the top. Oh, it's actually going up there. I squeezed pretty hard. All right. So trippy. Okay, if I'd been thinking about it, I would have bought myself a tube of the pink and green Maybelline Great Lash mascara, because that's what I was using back then. I don't have any, and I don't want to open up another mascara, so I'm going to use my IT Cosmetic Superhero. I'm not going to curl. I wouldn't have curled back then. Okay, and that's the finished eye look. I'm gonna do the rest of my face and I'll come back and do a little summary and say goodbye. I'll be right back. All right, so this is the finished look. I didn't do much because I wouldn't have done much back then. I used some concealer because I'm not 14, 15 anymore. I didn't do anything with my brows. My brows back then were a little terrifying, so I just groomed them a tiny bit. I wasn't plucking, I wasn't waxing, it was just a giant brow situation. At the time for lipstick, I was using Revlon Cherries in the Snow, and I don't have anything quite that color. So today I used MAC Ruby Woo, which I ended up using probably for the first time in the early 90s, mid 90s. But yeah, this really just was for me more about the eyes. This was the thing that I wanted to try to recreate. So thank you so much for your time and for watching this and stopping by. There's a lot to do out in the world and on YouTube, and I appreciate that you took some time to spend with me. Please subscribe if you haven't yet already. Hit the bell button to get alerts every time I upload new content, and give the video a like, thumbs up if you liked it. That would make me very, very happy. So thanks for stopping by and sharing a little bit of summer with me. I'll see you soon. Take care.